Redditors who have met a former crush years later, how did it turn out? Found out she was fat and unattractive. Then I realized I was too. Ran into her some years later in our mid-20s at a New Year's party. We both were just recently single and started to click. Eventually we both confessed to a mutual crush in high school. Then as the night went on and beer flowed, she jerked off 2 random guys in the living room. Edit. Holy karma. Jujuna is a BTCH. Good. We had tacos. Then did oral stuff in my car behind Taco Bell and haven't spoken since. Hadn't seen her in 15 years. Ran into each other online. Decided to meet up for dinner. Married now for 5 years and 1 kid. Good. Went to an underground rave and then my wife and I tag teamed her. She comes to our holiday gatherings now. Well, that turned out very nicely for you. He always said, double quote, I want to be a cop. I'll never be a frickin' firefighter. Firefighters are pea size. Cops are the real men. He became an army firefighter. But instead of being humbled, he's still a total douche. Had a crush on her all through freshman and sophomore year. She kissed me at the end of sophomore year. I failed to reciprocate. Basically ran away from her. Extreme social anxiety. I switched schools after disappearing for the summer, not because of the kiss. But when school started again, I walked to her school every day for half of the year in hopes of having the balls to make a move. Saw her each day. Failed each day. She obviously got tired of waiting. Ended up with another guy. I gave up. Come end of senior year, she shows up at my school to see some guy. Saw me. Literally jumped into my arms and forced her phone number on me. Together 7 years come November. I proposed to her around a week ago. Edit. Thank you for the gold, you amazing person. Edit 2. For those who have asked. She said yes. Though the proposal was more of a discussion of the ring I am trying to have made for her. Social awkwardness FTW. Went out for drinks. Still fixated on her. Was given a chance. Got wasted and embarrassed myself by spending so much of the night talking about how much my younger self liked her. Extolling her virtues like it was years ago. Mentioned how crazy and awesome it was that I was finally getting my chance. It was sad as shit. I didn't realize how bad I fricked up until I sobered up. Woke up and immediately knew I would not be given a second opportunity. Saw her reactions and responses from the previous night with a sober eye. Realized the massive amount of, I'm going to be polite, but I've made a mistake, that was continuously written across her face. Embarrassing as shit. It seems that the girls I was chasing in high school, if I see them now it's like, I don't see what the big deal was. And then the girls I wasn't chasing, but in retrospect should have been, are all insanely gorgeous. Funny. Smart. If I had a time machine, I'd go back and punch 15-year-old me right in the beanbag. Idiot. Ran into my high school crush because we were both on the same plane and seated across the aisle from each other. She's a lesbian now. Let's see. Met her when I was 13. We totally crushed. Fast forward to when we're both 23. She has a kid from a previous marriage. But it didn't bother me. Got married. She cheated. Tried to take me for child support for her daughter. 2/10 would not recommend. Her last name is very close to mine, so throughout high school our lockers were together or we'd have seats in class next to each other. She was a cheerleader. Incredibly hot and also a cool person. We were friends but nothing close. I ran into her 4 years later. She dropped out of college and is waiting tables now. But she got even hotter. Still a really nice girl though. Edit. Sorry to disappoint guys. But no oral at Taco Bell was involved. People keep asking if I asked her out and no, I didn't. I've had a girlfriend for over 2 years. No, we didn't hook up at a Taco Bell either. Had drinks. Went back to her hotel. Basically did not leave it for 2 days. Netflix marathon. We started a small thing when we were around 17 years old. Didn't work out cause she was spoiled and I was pretty heartless asshole. Fast forward a few relationships for us both, 11 years of growth, and she came back into my life a few months ago. We're dating and life is pretty good now, couldn't ask for anything more. Sometimes it's the right person but the wrong time. She was in my class back in kindergarten. In my class again in 3rd grade. Showed her my boxers and she was now my girlfriend. Then I discovered she cheated on me with my best friend. I saw him showing her his underwear. Needless to say, I've moved on from that event in my life. But if you are out there, Olivia or Matt, frick you. Will likely be buried forever, but what the hell? Had a crush on this girl in grade school, 1st second. Playdates, video games, action figures. Life was good. Bought her a present at a 5 and 10 because I thought she'd like it. It was a ring. She was ultra embarrassed and ran off. My parents still have not let me forget that. She changed schools, for other reasons, that next year. Fast forward 14 years. Graduated from undergrad. Working for a company in my hometown and working on getting accepted to medical school. Out for drinks one night with friends and who should come by but her? Beautiful. Great taste in music. Smiles at my jokes. Smitten. Fast forward several more years. Gave her a ring again. She did not run away. Happily married several years. Saw her at the 10-year HS reunion. She was a bit heavier than she'd been in HS. But still attractive. She was there with her Ivy League fiancé registered sign. These two facts combined to change my mindset from I wanna bang my HS crush at our reunion to oh well, never mind. At one point, we were being recognized for something. And with all eyes on us, she leaned over and said, double quote, I remember what a crush you had on me. You wanted me bad. First, I couldn't really react, given the immediate circumstances. Second, I didn't detect any kind of Taco Bell type invitation in what she'd said, sorry. In fact, it almost seemed like she was just lording it over me. I mean, she was there with her fiancé registered sign, who we determined in previous small talk she loved and who was awesome. For some reason, it really pissed me off. I just gave her a blank look, shrugged, and walked away. To this day, I wish I'd had some kind of witty comeback. But that's about my only regret. Haven't seen her since. But I hope she's happy. And blah. 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 We're married now. Had mega crush in high school. Finally contacted him 6 years later since I knew him back then and we haven't been apart since. Now we have been together for 4 years. Married for 1 and have a baby on the way. Dreams really do come true, I don't care how cheesy that sounds. I was in love with him for most of my lower teenage years. He was my best friend but I broke it off when I found out he'd been talking shit behind my back. I never thought he meant what he said about me. But I do know he was desperate to be liked by people. And didn't mind shitting on me to seem cooler to them. Of course the people he talked to told me about it. I sent him a handwritten letter explaining what I'd heard. And also that I was still in love with him and couldn't be just friends. We met up when I was 19. About 3 years since we'd last seen each other. He was as charming as he'd always been. And I realized how quickly we fell back into our previous roles. Him being cool but kind of an asshole. And me hanging off his every word. I'm happy we met up because it gave me some closure to realize I didn't feel the same as I did about him. And that he was even more of an asshole. I still think about him sometimes but much more soberly than I did when we still hung out. Crushed hard and competed for a really cute girl in college but when she moved in with him I closed the door on things. Years later she sought me out on Facebook as apparently for her. I was the one that got away. It led to a tour on again. Off again. Mostly Azul Trist in which we determined the things we did best were fighting or effing which we cycled through quarterly until about a 4-year break due to mutual animosity. We made up. Had an amazing year. And broke up again in a heart-wrenching explosion that stings to this day. Super. We originally met my freshman year of high school. His senior year. 3 years later. We met again. I still had a crush. We became really good friends. Then started dating after I graduated. We are now married and have been for over 2 years. We had a beer. Talked a bit. It was nice. She was even hotter than before. I was now swole. Made decent money. Decent haircut, clothes, etc. Thought I had a shot. I clean up real good. She never called me back when I asked her to go to a show. Last I looked on Facebook, she's married now. That was like 6 or 7 years ago. Now I just quietly weep in the dark and drink and watch Netflix. Don't go out much anymore. Thanks OP for reminding me. Jackass. Tried to pull an ultimatum on me in high school. Do this or we're over. Dot. I called her bluff and that's how our relationship ended. 10ish years later we're both single and I visit her on a lark. Turns out she's sleeping with a divorced man and trying to get him to abandon his wife and daughter. Yeah. Also her apartment was absolutely filthy. I mean, I'm no prize, but I've tried to ruin exactly 0 families. Good, we've been dating for almost a year now. He was my crush back in junior high. He didn't even know me. He was in the French stream. I was in English. We connected over 10 years later on Tinder. He asked what my spirit animal was. And I said Iggy Azalea, and that was that. I wasn't all that interested in him when we went out. But for some reason it worked out. I didn't tell him until our 5th date that I already knew him from before. He looks like a taller version of what he did back then. It's a little weird. I had a crush on the daughter of my mom's friend when I was about 10 years. We would hang out a lot. Sometimes all night when our moms were working together at the coat check of the restaurant my dad valeted for. She was definitely my first big crush. But I was a shy, awkward kid. I remember one of the last times we hung out. I gave her my favorite Lion King trading card because I like her. After our moms got new jobs, we didn't see each other anymore. The next time I saw her was when we were 18. She was really different, and even though she was still really cute, I didn't feel the same way about her. We talked for a bit and caught up. She showed me pictures of her son. Apparently she had gotten pregnant when she was 17 and had a beautiful baby boy that her mom looks after so she could finish school. It was a nice experience. Especially finding out what she had been up to all those years. Had a crush on the high school QB. And his family was royalty in my school. It was a very small town that worshipped football and his family had been players going back 4 generations or something like that. But in terms of popularity, this guy wasn't just out of my league. He was out of my stratosphere. Fast forward 10 years. I'm newly single and he looks me up on the book. Flirting plus admitting I had a huge crush on him and school equals date. Effing score for me. Yeah? Yeah. No. I get to his place and he's living in a 300 square foot box. Still driving that 89 pickup from HS. Talking about how he was King Shti. Still caught up in being worshipped in school and clearly couldn't grasp why the real world didn't do the same. Can you believe? Reddit. That he actually had to prove himself. The goddamn nerve of his boss. Ate dinner. The man did grill one hell of a steak and noped out.